how to win negotiations as a real estate agent or a lender. Now here's the thing, people always talk about win-win, and I will say, I have done video content on win-win. I think win-win is great, but the truth of the matter is, true negotiations, somebody is not going to win. And so you need to learn not to be afraid to tell somebody no. Here's the thing, when somebody really needs something and they want something so bad and they're willing to do anything to get it, you have all the power. So depending upon which side of the plate that you're on, you need to really understand what the market's doing. Is there a lot of inventory or is there no inventory? Is the type of home that you're selling, is it like super, super desirable and everybody wants it? Let's just say it's like everybody right now wants a 4-bedroom, 3-bath home with a 3-car garage and a pool, and there's not many of them around. You know that this is like super highly desirable. So you hold all the cards. And I'm not saying to ever be disrespectful or to be rude, but it's your job. Like, I like representing sellers, and I make sure that I know exactly what position I hold in the market. When I've got a property, what type of property is that? Like, how desirable is it? How much inventory? How many of them are there? How many people want them? How quickly do they go? I need to know if I own the cards or not. And it's my job to make sure I educate myself as to the market, because then whether I'm on the buyer side of that or the seller side, I can absolutely negotiate to whoever I'm representing in their best interest by knowing what is going on around me. For example, if you know that you are working with a buyer and they're qualified up to $500,000, but houses in that area have been selling for $570,000 and people are removing contingencies and they're closing escrow really, really early and they're not asking for any repairs, you need to know that. It's going to put you in a better seat as a negotiator. The reverse is as well too. If houses are sitting in the market, you're working with the seller, you need to know that you might not be in the driver's seat, so you need to know what's happening in the market, what's the absorption rate, you know, how long things are sitting on the market, what kind of terms are being negotiated, and really, really understand what's happening in the market. So negotiations are super, super important. We need to understand what's happening in the market, the desire of the person on the other end. Maybe I'm a seller, and I always tell buyers and sellers, depending on who I'm working with, like, don't talk to the other agent. Don't tell them anything. Have them go through me, because people will try to do small talk and they don't know the things that they're actually giving up. Like, they might say, yeah, I got to move because I'm moving. I just got a new job over there in Colorado and I start in like, 30 days, and I'm just like, I got to get out of here quick. Well, as a seller, you should never tell that to a buyer or a buyer's agent, because then you just put your cards on the table. Okay, so it's really important. Number one, agents, educate your sellers and buyers as to what they should or shouldn't say to anybody else other than you, right? Always be truthful, obviously, but there's certain things you shouldn't say. Even as an agent, there's certain things that you should not say to the other agent. I would never tell an agent anything that put my buyer or my seller in an area of weakness. I would always want them to look, to be kind of in the upper hand, if that makes sense. So know who you're dealing with. Also, with negotiations, it's really, really important for you to understand the experience level of the person on the other side, right? So for example, I know that if I'm dealing with an experienced agent who sold a lot of homes, who absolutely knows about the market, I know I need, and they're more savvy, I know that I'm gonna have to like really come in with my A game, which I would do all the time. And it might be a little different if I'm dealing with an agent who's out of the area, doesn't know the market, doesn't know the inventory. They might try to do things or negotiate things that really aren't really conducive to what's really happening in the market. So as an agent, you really need to know what the market's doing. What's the market doing? What is the motivation of the buyer and the seller? Let me give you an example, okay? Oftentimes when I'm negotiating with somebody, and let's just say we have multiple offers, and I'll tell the seller, here's what I recommend. They're like, well, I'm afraid. What if we're gonna lose the buyer? I'm afraid if I do that. And I say, listen, if this buyer wants the property bad enough, they're not gonna walk away now. If they walk away now because I'm saying no to something or I'm countering something, if they don't say yes and they walk away, they would have walked away anyways. You wanna know up front just how serious that buyer is. Worst case scenario, right, is that they're gonna walk away. It barely ever happens. And when it doesn't, I was like, it's a good thing we figured that out now, because if they're already backing up because we just countered them, then they would have done it anyways in the future. You want somebody who's willing to come back and at least negotiate, right? Like, that's what negotiations are. They're negotiations. One person says one thing, one person says another. Don't be afraid to say no. It's one of the biggest mistakes that I see people making, especially inexperienced agents. They're afraid they're gonna lose the buyer. They're gonna make the buyer mad. They're gonna lose the deal because they are not negotiating on their seller or their buyer's behalf. Do not be afraid to say no. Also, get certified, right? I'm a master certified negotiation expert. I'm also a certified negotiation expert, so I've got certifications. This teaches you how to deal, like culturally sometimes, we need to understand culturally that different cultures, they negotiate differently, right? Understand who you're dealing with on the other side. Culturally, what is their cultural style for negotiations? There's also different types of negotiations, which is like, they talk about being a win-win or being controlling, like know who you are dealing with. But sometimes when they say win-win, it's not always a win-win. So you've got to understand that like somebody's in most cases is not going to win. Somebody in most cases is going to lose, and the person that's going to win is the person that has the most control and the better, they're in a better position in the market, if that makes sense. So I hope this was helpful as far as negotiating goes in real estate. I'm Krista Mashore. Remember, when you do what you love, people love what you do. Let me know what else, any comments or stuff you'd like me to go over, and I will be sure to help you with more content in the future. Thanks so much for watching my video. You can learn more about how to be a successful real estate professional by watching other videos that I have. And be sure to subscribe to my channel. And as always, make it a great home selling and buying day.